Hi guys, I'm sitting down in my pantry and I want to show you what I'm planting in 2026. This video I'm only going to go through the vegetables, but if you're interested, let me know in the comments down below and I'll show you all the other things we're planting as well. So real quick, this is how I organize all of my seeds. This is a photo organizer, but I use it for all my seeds. They have all these little bins, so I just organize based off a few things. One of them is what year I bought the seeds in, and the other is when I'm going to start them. The very first ones I'll go over the ones I'm starting in March. I have 2 different types of white onion and 2 different types of red onion. I've done the white sweet Spanish before. It didn't do very well, but I think I transplanted it at the wrong time, so we're gonna try again. I take it back, I only have 1 type of white. These are both the same. And then I have the red Geneva onion and the ruby red onion. I love red onions. I picked both of these for their storage capacity because I want to try to store them down here, but we'll see how it goes. And then the last is I'm trying this Tokyo white bunching onion. I love a bunching onion for fresh eating in the summer, and so I want to test it out. All of those are going to be started in March down here in my basement under some grow lights. Then the things I'm starting in April down here. The very first one is the Utah tall celery. I grew this one last year. I had wonderful results, so I'm definitely growing it again. I also want to test out growing a loofah. We're going to grow a few of these plants and see how they do. I'm in zone, I think we're 6B now. It used to be zone 5, but a lot of times these can be a struggle to grow in a colder climate. I'm so sorry if you can hear my baby crying. I think he just woke up from his nap and he's upstairs with his dad. I'm growing 2 types of eggplant. I'm doing a Turkish orange eggplant and I'm doing a Casper eggplant. My husband doesn't like eggplant very much, but I love it. So we're testing out these 2 varieties to see if I can find one he likes as well. The hot peppers are easy to go through. I'm only growing 3. My husband doesn't like spicy, but I do. And so I'm growing a big Jim pepper. I've tried these a few times in the past and never had luck, but I really want to grow them just to add fresh into things. And then I'm doing the cayenne long slim and the cayenne purple pepper because I love cayenne pepper, and so I'm gonna dehydrate these and make it into cayenne powder. And I thought, how cool! It's a purple cayenne pepper, and I thought that would be really fun to have purple cayenne powder, so we'll see how it goes. I'm doing pretty much an entire green stalk of peppers this year because I never have had luck with peppers in my zone, and I think that just in the ground they don't get warm enough fast enough, so we're going to test it out in the green stalk. I'm going to power through because we have a lot of sweet peppers. So we have a habanada pepper, which is like a habanero except without heat. I have a sweet banana pepper. I have a golden bell pepper, a red bell pepper, a purple bell pepper. I have the, I'm so sorry when I butchered this name. I have the yellow Corno de Toro pepper. These are like a small yellow snacking pepper. I'm trying these ones. Oh man, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. It's a purple pepper. I'm obsessed with purple vegetables for some reason, and so I really hope these do well because I'd like to try them out. They look really yummy. I have the jalapeno because I love jalapenos, but my husband doesn't like the spice, and I always forget and put spicy peppers in his food. So I'll be able to get the jalapeno flavor here without the spice and then spice my own food. And then the final one is I have these mini snacking bell peppers. I grew a variety of these last year, not this exact one, but they were the only pepper that's done well and they were fantastic. And so I am so excited to grow those. I don't hear my baby crying. He hasn't been crying for a few minutes, so I'm guessing he's up playing with my husband and is not demanding my presence. Next, these are both new for me, but I really have wanted to grow them for a long time. So I'm just doing 2 plants of each to test it out, but I'm back with the purple vegetables. I have a purple tomatillo and I have 2 types of ground cherries. I've heard ground cherries are fantastic from a few friends, but I've just never grown them, so I'm gonna give it a shot, and I'd love to be able to make some salsas with these tomatillos. A little fact about me, my husband and I moved to our zone here in Michigan from southern Arizona, and so salsa is a big part of our life. We absolutely love Mexican food, so I'm trying to grow a lot of things to make different types of salsa. We have, actually right here on the shelf, we made 2 types last year. This is a sweeter salsa, and this is just a regular salsa, and they're both really good, but I want to be able to make a few more different types because we are big salsa and chips people. And I am sure everyone is always excited about tomato varieties, so I'll go a little bit more in depth with my tomatoes here. I have 5 different paste tomatoes I'm trying out. I absolutely love Roma tomatoes and paste tomatoes for making sauce, but for some reason in our microclimate in our yard, we always get early blight and it knocks out all of my Roma tomatoes, and my determinate tomatoes will die and my indeterminate do fine. So I have 2 indeterminate tomatoes I'm testing out that are paste tomatoes. This one is a new one from MIGardener called Royal Paste. It's quite large, and so I'm hoping because it's indeterminate I'll be able to freeze them as they come off and I'll actually get some good paste tomatoes. And then I have this Amish paste tomato that's an indeterminate. I haven't grown either of these, and so I'm hoping one of them does well so I can keep growing it. I take it back, I have two more indeterminate. This Quadro tomato isn't a traditional paste tomato, but I'm gonna test it out because it is known for being meatier. And then I have a green sausage tomato. I've never tried a green paste tomato, but I figured I'd try this out. Those are all indeterminate, so maybe one of these will be my winner of paste tomatoes. I'll keep growing. And then I'm trying out a new variety from MIGardener as well, that's the Blackout Roma. I thought these were really pretty. They're determinate, and truly I'm just hoping I can have a determinate tomato that grows. I've never grown this one in my backyard, and so I'm gonna give it a shot and see if it has the same issues with blight. Other than that, I have a few more tomatoes that I'm gonna grow. This Wisconsin peach tomato is a yellow cherry. My husband's favorite are yellow cherry tomatoes to snack on in the garden, so I always have to grow one of those. I'm trying this Persian sprayless tomato. It's semi-determinate, but supposedly fairly disease resistant, and we have blight issues with our tomatoes every year, so I'm hoping that these are going to be a little more blight resistant. The Wisconsin 55 I grew last year, it did awesome. I should say it would have done awesome, except for the fact that we had such a hot, wet summer last year. We had 100% humidity when we woke up. I want to say for like 4 or 5 weeks straight. The blight was unmanageable. I kind of gave up on this plant. It still put out tomatoes the entire time. They just weren't as good as they could, so I'm giving it a shot again this year. And then I have two just classic slicing tomatoes. I have my Brandywine Black and the Orange Oxheart. I've grown both of these before. They do really well in my yard, so I'm gonna grow them again. As you can see, I have a thing for the purple fruit. Those are all of my peppers and tomatoes. As you can see, tons of both because we absolutely just love them. All of those I'm starting indoor in April. You're supposed to start them 6 to 12 weeks ahead of our last frost, but every year that I follow the exact guidelines on the seed packet, I end up with plants that are way too big or they just start to struggle in the basement. So I'm starting them all only about 4 to 6 weeks. I think 6 weeks for the peppers, tomatillos, and ground cherries, and I'm gonna do 4 weeks for the tomatoes. I would rather plant out a small, healthy plant than have a struggling, larger plant in my basement. We also have limited space. I don't know if you can see this rack over here in the video, but I'm squished between 2 racks of our canning area back here. But so hopefully by starting these in April instead of like I've done in end of March, beginning of April, most years I'm gonna have more luck. Next are the ones I'm starting indoor in May. There's only a few of these. Our last frost is beginning to mid-May, depending on the year. 2 years ago, our last frost was like May 5th, and last year I think it wasn't until about May 20th. So we never quite know. But these are ones I just want to sprout indoor. They don't have to get very big. If we have what looks like going to be an early last frost, I may start these outdoor. But it's just something I want to give a little head start since we have a shorter growing zone. Sorting through these here, I have a few flowers and herbs. I'm happy to share my flowers and herbs in another video. I wanted to go over specifically vegetables in this one. These 3 plants, I just want to get a start inside if we happen to have a later last frost, but they realistically could be planted outside as well. I have a spaghetti squash. This is my favorite. I absolutely love spaghetti squash. My husband's not a fan. I think it's because he didn't grow up in the Midwest. He was from Southern Arizona his whole life, and so fresh vegetables aren't really a thing down there. Excuse me. But I'm hoping that I can make a homegrown spaghetti squash. Excuse me, oh my gosh, I'm burping. I'm hoping a homegrown spaghetti squash will change his mind. I'm doing the sugar pie pumpkins. I've done these every year. Okay, I did these the first year. I didn't do them last year just because we ran out of space, but I'm gonna grow them again. I'm hoping to grow enough for 2 years. I like to puree them and freeze them. Homemade pumpkin puree is just, store-bought can't even touch it. And then I've always wanted to try delicata squash. I probably should have bought one before I'm gonna grow it, but I figured I'll try it and maybe this will be the squash my husband really likes. I'm hoping I like it. I love a squash soup in the winter, and I'm hoping they're all gonna store well down here for at least a few months so I don't have to deal with them right when they come out of the garden. So those 3 are my start in May plants. I may end up planting them out if we're not forecasted to have a really late last frost like last year, but fingers crossed we have an earlier last frost and I can just put them in the ground. So now I'm getting into the vegetables I'm planting directly in the ground before my last frost. These will probably go in end of April, beginning of May, depending on what our weather looks like. So all of these plants are frost hardy that I'm gonna go through here. I think I have a few bins that are before my last frost, so I'll grab each of those. In here, I have a few of my greens. I have 2 kales, Red Russian and Premier. I grew both of these in our garden last year and they produced the entire year. I cut from them, they grew back. Absolutely phenomenal. I cannot be more happy. The plants were massive, gave us such great harvests. My only issue is we have cabbage moth problems. So I'll go over in another video here soon what I'm planning on doing to try to fight the cabbage moths, but I'm hoping we can have beautiful, not filled with holes, leaves this year. Along that line, I have my rainbow Swiss chard. This, oh my God, sorry. The door started moving down here and it freaked me out. It's my cat knows how to open the door. Shitten. So if you hear meowing in the background, that's our wonderful, beautiful cat named Shitten. Unfortunately, her name's Shitten, but she is the sweetest, most beautiful cat. So back into the veggies, I have rainbow Swiss chard. This did so well last year. I cut off of it all year. I ended up with chard leaves that were 3 foot long. The stalks were huge. I have some dehydrated. We eat a ton fresh. I never thought I'd like it as much as I did, and so I'm growing a few of those as well. And then I have this blue shelling snow pea. I really like, well, as you can see, purple vegetables, but our peas did really well last year, so I'm going to be planting an absurd quantity. I like to eat the young pods in stir fries in the summer and the spring, and I also like to wait and get quite a few to shell. Last year we only shelled enough to eat fresh because we just could not stop eating them, so I'm going to grow about 6 times what we grew last year because we could not get enough on the vine fast enough to eat. All right, I'm pulling out the seeds here. I believe they are all of my carrots. I am so happy. I have never successfully grew carrots until last year. Last year I found a couple varieties that did phenomenal, so I'm growing those again, and I'm trying out a few more because I like to have a variety of carrots. I think they're so fun to have the different colors and the different flavors. So I'm regrowing what did great, and we're going to test a few more. Our #1 star last year was the Black Nebula carrot. These were coming out 8 to 10 inches long, beautiful, perfectly straight, not an issue with anything. I could not have been more happy. They were beautiful, flavorful. These I'm going to be planting quite a few of. And the other that did really well was the Oxheart carrot. These ones were shorter and fatter. They were not as easy to slice up, but they absolutely rocked the show. So both of these, planting again for sure. They did so well, I couldn't believe it. Back to the purple veggie obsession I have Pusa Astia Black. I don't know how to pronounce this, but I have another black carrot. The black carrots did so well, I wanted to try a second variety and see if they do as well in our microclimate because they are just some of my favorites. I then have the Lulu Sang and just regular purple carrot. These purple carrots did okay last year, but I have a few seeds left, and so I'm gonna test them again, see if maybe I move their spot if they do a little bit better. I really wanted them to grow well, but they just didn't, so I'm gonna test those out. These are a smaller carrot. We have a baby who's going to be turning a year in the summer next year, and so I'd love to have these little tiny carrots that grow. They grow great in dense soil, and we have quite a bit of clay, but they'd be fun to boil and just have tiny little, toddler-sized carrots. And the final one is I'm trying out Danvers 126. I still have yet to find an orange carrot that's a long, straighter carrot that grows well here, so I'm hoping that this is the one, because so far we've had no luck with orange carrots that do well. So those are all my carrots. They'll be going out before our last frost by a few weeks. I just sprinkle them on the ground and hope for the best. All right, this final bin I'm not even gonna open. This is the rest of my pea seeds. I have 5 of the Wando pea in here. I went overboard buying these ones because they're the ones we planted last year that produced like crazy. So my goal is to plant these in the spring and a second time in the fall on a trellis we're putting in. The Wando pea, I cannot recommend enough. It is the best tasting pea, both as like the young pod and as a shelling pea I've ever had. I'll be buying these and planting them every year from now on. All right, and then we get into our outdoor after our last frost. So once our last frost has passed, we're no longer at risk of, I'd say probably I'd wait until below 35, 40 at night to plant these things. I'm getting into all of these other fun things. The majority of the things I'm planting after our last frost are beans. I'm doing beans in a couple different spots in our garden. A few places could use some nitrogen back into the soil, and beans are a nitrogen fixer, so I'm gonna plant a few bush beans around. I'm also doing an entire green stalk of beans because if you're like me, I hate going and picking every single little bean like every day, and so the green stalk just makes it so much easier to find them. I'm also doing mostly shelling beans this year. We have quite a few jars up above me still of green beans. We just don't go through them as fast as I'd like. I'm doing the majority shelling because we tend to do soups in the winter with dry beans so much more than we eat green beans. The very first, back to my problem with these darker veggies, I'm doing black garbanzo beans. I think it would be so fun to have like a purpley black hummus. I just think it would be so silly. These are some shelling beans here. I have the Calypso bush. I have the painted pony bush. I have Jacob's cattle bush. I have midnight black turtle bush. I have grown none of these bush beans before, and so I'm trying out a whole lot of different varieties this year. If they all work well, awesome, we're gonna have a lot of fun beans in the basement, but I'm also trying to figure out which ones do best in our climate. I've only done green beans. I know the 3 varieties that grow fantastic in our yard, and so now I'm trying to find drying beans that do the same. I also got amaranth as a free seed. I've never eaten it, I've never tried it. I figured I'd plant one and see how it tastes, so I'm gonna put that out after our last frost. And it's pink. How cute, I love a fun colored plant. Shitten. The cat keeps scaring me. I'm down in the basement and I don't know, our basement's not super scary, but it's also not a spooky basement. And oh, here she is. This is the sweet little angel who keeps knocking on the door and scaring me. She is the sweetest, cuddliest cat. She wants to be in everyone's business. She's my sweet baby girl, huh? Thanks for coming to visit, Shitten. I have more beans in here somewhere, but apparently I didn't organize this as well as I thought, so we're going to a few more after last frost plants here. I have this Canadian crook neck squash. Wow, that was a tongue twister for me. I love a butternut squash. I'm hoping this has about the same flavor and grows better in our climate because we haven't had good luck with our butternut squash. Last year we got one that ripened before our first frost, so I'm hoping these are a little bit quicker. I'm also trying the Blue Hubbard. I know these store really well. I love different squash soups in the winter. I'm hoping this is gonna be something to give us quite a bit of squash per square foot in the garden. I've never tasted one before. I should have. I definitely should try things before I try growing them, but sometimes that's half the fun of tending to the plant is then getting to taste a new plant at the end. I have never struggled with zucchini, but last year we, for the first time, got squash vine borers and they took out every one of our zucchini plants in about a week. It was so fast, I did not see it coming. It took out all 4 and we had maybe 2 zucchini last year. Thankfully, the year before we had gotten hundreds of pounds of zucchini because no one told me not to plant 12 zucchini plants for 2 people. So we still have about 30 pounds frozen, all shredded, ready for like zucchini baking. So thankfully we'll make it until next summer with anything we want to bake zucchini wise, but I'm kind of not happy about the zucchini situation with the squash vine borers, and so I decided to try something new, and I'm going to try this white scallop squash. This squash I'm hoping the vine borers will avoid. I'm going to plant it in a totally different area in the backyard, and I've never tried these, and so I think they'll be fun. They're a summer squash. We'll see how it goes. I forgot, I have a second pumpkin. I'm trying out this Long Island cheese pumpkin. They're a large pumpkin I can puree. I'm gonna see if I like them better than the sugar pie because the pumpkins are bigger. And I'm thinking if I have bigger pumpkins, I'll have to plant less plants. So we'll see how these do. It's a test this year, but I'm hoping they do really well. My husband loves melons, and I have very, very, very few melons I enjoy. So this year, I'm trying out 2 melons neither of us has ever tried. We're gonna taste them together and see if they do well and if we like them. I have Kahiri, I am not quite sure how to say that, but it's this cute little striped melon. It's supposedly, I believe, if I remember right, please correct me if I'm wrong, I could be completely talking nonsense, but I think it's between like a honeydew and it's between a honeydew and like a watermelon, or a honeydew and I forget what the orange one is. I am not a melon girl, but it says it's a different flavor than the melons you get at the store, so I'm trying it out to see if I like it. And then I'm also trying this mango or vine peach melon. It's this cute little tiny melon, and we're gonna have space on a trellis, and so I want to try this out and see if this is gonna be a melon I like. My husband's a big mango guy. I like the mango flavor. I hate the texture of mangoes. I've only liked mangoes when I got them fresh in Hawaii when we were there. Turns out when they're shipped, I just don't like them, but I do like them fresh. So I'm hoping if this has a little bit of a mango flavor, maybe it'll kind of bring some of that tropical melony taste to our yard. Our yard, I have failed to grow cucumbers every single year. It's not even close. I get like one deformed one like this big and the whole plant dies, and I can't figure out why. There's no obvious reason it's dying or not doing well. So I'm going completely off the script this year. We're trying this Indian snake cucumber. I'm gonna trellis it. I might grow it on the ground. I might try both. My mom swears that growing them on the ground works great. She gets crazy cucumber harvests every year, just not trellising them at all. So we're gonna test this out. I'm not a pickle person, my husband is, so we just need enough to make a jar or two of them. And then I like to eat them fresh in my water, but fingers crossed we get a good cucumber that'll grow. Because so far we have not been successful, to say the least. It's not been successful is the nice way to put it. Okay, we're into our very last bin. Oh, here's the last of my beans. Okay, so I forgot, I do have this Sumter cucumber. This is the second one I'm gonna try. It's a good pickling cucumber. I'm gonna try to get this one to make pickles for my husband. I've never grown this specific variety in our backyard, so we're gonna see how it does. I'm trying this Oriental yard-long pole bean. We are not huge green bean eaters, I believe I said before, and so I'm gonna try this yard-long bean. It's more bean per bean, so it's less picking that we hate. I think it's kind of fun to have the big long noodle beans, and we also like to do a lot of Asian food cooking, lots of stir fries. It's just easy with lots of rice. If you can't tell by all of our rice back here, we have all kinds of different ones. And so I think that these would be really, really good in a rice. I have the last of our dried beans here. So I have this Sunset Runner Pole, I have a mung bush bean, and then I also have the Kennerly Yellow Bush. Sorry for fighting for my life to pronounce all of these. I probably should have practiced, but we're just going for it. And then we grew corn this year, and we grew a glass corn and a dent corn, and they did okay, but I knew nothing about corn growing. I just planted the seeds and thought I can figure it out. I did not figure it out. It did not turn out well. The corn did great. It grew like 8 foot tall. It had little ears of corn all over it. It did well in that sense, but I didn't know when to harvest it. I didn't know how to cure it. That whole part went pretty bad. So I've done my research. I've learned a little more. So I'm going to try 2 different plantings of corn this year. I'm going to do 2 sweet corns. We're gonna do a red and a yellow, and I know everyone's gonna say they're gonna cross-pollinate. I don't ever learn unless I make the mistake, and so I really wanna plant them both because we have limited space and just see what happens. So please tell me if I'm gonna make an inedible corn or something, but we're gonna try planting them both at the same time. Right, and then we come to the very end here, and these are things I'm going to plant only in the fall. So there's multiple things I'll do multiple planting of, like the beans I'll plant probably multiple times. The corn I'll plant multiple times, but these are things I'm only planting in the fall. I have, oh my gosh, I have 4 different spinach varieties here. I am trying to find a spinach that grows. Every single year it grows amazing, it's doing well, and the second I'm like, wow, this is about to be ready to harvest, it goes to seed. And I've always planted it in the spring. So this year I'm gonna try only in the fall, and I'm hoping the colder the weather gets, the less likely that it's going to bolt on me. I'm doing a lot of my greens in the fall for the bolting reason here. Sometimes we have an amazing spring and we get lettuce for months. Sometimes it goes from 65 to 95 and it stays hot and everything bolts. I got these free lettuce seeds. I'm gonna try out this variety, but this ruby red lettuce is hands down the best lettuce I have ever grown. It does resist bolting, so I might put some in the spring, but we tend to eat more salads in the fall when apples are in season as well. So for sure I'm planting this. It is prolific. It did amazing last year. I can't wait to grow it again. I have 2 more varieties of spinach in here. I'm not gonna go through them all. I think these are the ones that failed last year, but there are now 6 varieties of spinach that I have found in these bins that we're gonna test out. I have some arugula. I've never grown it, so we're gonna give it a shot. I have the dinosaur kale. I'm planting this one in the fall. It did fine in our garden all year, but I'm gonna plant it later in the season because it was the #1 kale that got destroyed by the cabbage moth. I'm hoping if it's a little later in the season, maybe we'll avoid some of the cabbage moth. I have this Early Wonder tall top beet. I'm gonna try fall beets. My summer beets never come out bigger than like a quarter, and I can't figure out why. And I've grown a bunch of different varieties, so I'm gonna try planting them later and see if they do better. I have Bloody Butcher and Blue Hopi dent corn. These are gonna be my second planting. Tell me again if these are gonna cross-pollinate and just ruin everything, but I'm hoping that both of these corns will grow well, we can dry them, we can cure them right. I'll learn my lesson. We grew Bloody Butcher last year. It did so well until I harvested it all way too early and cured it all wrong. Hello friends, welcome back. Sorry about this really awkward editing. My phone died and I didn't plan on that happening. I definitely didn't bring a phone charger down. So when I wanted to charge my phone, I then got distracted, played with my baby, and hung out with my husband until they're now both in bed. And so I'm back to finish this video. Also, during that time, my husband was reorganizing the basement while I was down here with the baby with him, and I found some more seeds that I forgot I had. let me show you the ones I found that I forgot I had gotten to add to this whole lineup of seeds. So the very first is I'm going to finish off, these are my seeds from last year, my Utah Tell celery, but along with that celery we have the pink plume celery. I grew this last year, it did fantastic, and it's such a fun little pink color. It's very cold tolerant, I believe, so I tend to plant this out with the things I plant before my last frost, so like 4 weeks before my last frost, or I might start them inside. I don't know. I'm trying to do less seed starting inside if I can avoid it, just because it's a lot of hassle, especially with the baby now. A seed I totally forgot I had is this orange hat tomato. They're these little tiny tomato plants that only get like 9 inches tall. I was gonna add these into my planters on my patio. That way I can have little tomatoes in my ornamental planters. So I'm really excited about that. I also had these Utah yellow onions. These are an amazing storage onion. I'm gonna restart these. I grew some last year, but I screwed up the whole onion process. So we're gonna regrow these, and I'm super excited to hopefully get some really healthy onions. Along with those onions, I'm growing some shallots. I grew these last year. They actually did phenomenal. I did well with these, so I'm growing them again. This is my exact seed packet from last year. I have plenty of seeds left. I'm excited to plant some. Imagine that, I have another fun purple eggplant. This one is, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. It will be awful. You guys will make fun of me. My plant grew fantastic last year. It was doing great. And then I had a baby and I neglected the garden and it kind of died. So I never really got to try it. I'm hoping this year I can actually get some eggplants off of it. The last two are, I forgot, it's a mini yellow bell pepper. I'm debating if I'm gonna do these or not because I have the mixed mini bell peppers, but I really liked these last year. They did great, so we're gonna try again. And finally, I have some asparagus. We planted our asparagus out last year, but I'm wondering if they're gonna come back this year. As with everything, I winged it, and I don't think I planted it deep enough and I didn't mulch it. So we'll see if it comes back again this year. I'm hoping it's hardy enough. I'm hoping our winter is not so frigid cold it kills it, but I'm gonna start some more asparagus just in case. And if it does come back, I'll just add to our asparagus patch. So that's all the vegetables I'll be starting inside and planting out in our homestead garden. Please follow along and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.